a girl a-running in a group. She had a high-speed motor in a 44 coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
I got a little. It's my turn to get on the soapbox, I guess, because I have a thing that really it gets in my craw, and I'm going to read this report, and then I'm going to expound on it.
Just don't hurt your good hand while you're getting on the soapbox.
I know that hand is perfect now. As soon as I get it out of this thing, Washington. U.S. Representative Neil Dunn, Republican from Florida, reintroduced a bipartisan bill Thursday mandating that vehicle owners and independent repair shops have the same access to repair and maintenance tools and data as automakers and their franchised dealers. Probably won't be many dealers left anyway pretty soon. The bill, known as the Right to Equitable and Professional Auto Industry Repair Act, was previously introduced last year by Illinois Representative Bobby Rush, who retired after his term ended January 4th. So this has been a reintroduction of this in Congress. The legislation would require all tools and equipment, wireless transmission of repair and diagnostic data, and telematics systems needed for vehicle repairs to be made available to the independent repair industry. To ensure cybersecurity, it would allow automakers to secure vehicle-generated data and require NHTSA to develop standards for how that data can be accessed securely. You know, Chuck, they've made these cars. This agreement came about after Massachusetts now has already passed its own right to repair law in 2013, gives shops in all states the same access to diagnostic and repair information. They're building these cars, and they're building them better. I will tell you, they're building them better. As far as I'm concerned, things have changed for the better. I've been around 50 years in this business.
Right.
I started in the dealerships. I worked General Motors and I worked Chrysler.
When you started, you're still like Fred Flintstone. You used to use your feet to run the car, right?
Absolutely. We didn't have catalytic converters. We had points and points and condenser. I mean, there was things that air conditioning was kind of an option. I mean, it was pretty crazy back in the 60s. But here's the deal: you've come a long way, baby. But here's the deal: everybody has the right to fix those cars, even the person that owns them. That's your vehicle. You're paying, and now you're paying upwards of $80,000 for a vehicle. And if you want to tinker with it, you should be allowed to tinker with it. You should have the necessary information to tell you what you can tinker with and what you can't. I mean, if they're going to make it so you have to go back to a dealer to get it looked at or fixed, and the dealership is the only one that has access to data, to online diagnostics, to all the different things that have to come about to make a car repair go, to make it happen. It's not right. It can't be that way. I own an independent shop. I've owned an independent shop for 40 years. And I have the absolute right to know how to fix those cars. I should be able to wire into them. I should be able to hook up to them. If I'm willing to spend the money for the diagnostic equipment, which is not cheap, let me just tell you, and it's turned your repair bills upside down, sideways, you name it. It's made everything expensive, even in the aftermarket. Even at my shop, I'm embarrassed sometimes by some of the prices I got to charge for parts or diagnostics. But it is what it is. It's the price I pay. I'm just passing it along basically, and you can't have this to the point where you have to go back to a dealer. First and foremost, and God bless them, they're the people that do all the work. They sell the cars and they do all the crummy work when the car is brand new the first year or so. Everybody complaining about wind noises, water leaks, this squeak and rattle here. They take care of all those like they're supposed to. But when it comes down to it now, when it runs out of warranty and the customer's now got to pay the big money, you have to wait hours, sometimes days, to get an appointment, to get your car fixed. Once you have an appointment, you wait hours. It's insane. They're not a convenient place to go. Your neighborhood garage, your neighborhood repair center, has qualified technicians to do this work. If those qualified technicians are afforded the equipment and the repair data and online diagnostics. It's got to be this way.
So the first thing I would say is, remember, this fight goes beyond cars. I know that, for instance, farmers have been having this fight with, I think it was John Deere, about tractors and about telemetry and all, again, data, because, what used to be just a simple tractor is now a high-tech thing loaded with GPS and everything.
Farmers are used to repairing their own equipment.
And so that was a big fight.
Sometimes out in the field.
Right. And that was a big fight of theirs. They fought John Deere about the right to repair. This also includes like your phone, your iPhone, things like that. Are you allowed to replace your own iPhone screen without voiding the warranty?
Your washer and dryer.
Washer and dryer. So that becomes sort of the thing. And again, now it becomes another question about not only right to repair, but also like aftermarket stuff. And I think we talked about, was it BMW maybe, or something, is like any sort of aftermarket tuning or tinkering whatsoever just completely voids the warranty on your new vehicle.
And that's just not right. It's not. That's your vehicle.
Right.
You are paying big dough for that vehicle. I don't care if they sold it to you. I don't care if they patted it on the butt on the way out the door. That's where it's gone. It's out the door now, and that now belongs to you.
Well, so here's another interesting question that you brought up. Do you know that, like, so for instance, with the new vehicles, do they have like OBD ports? Like, could you, if a Tesla pulled up and he wanted like, a brake job or something, do they have diagnostic ports, or do you have?
They have diagnostic ports. I have equipment. I pay the last scanner I bought was over $10,000, and it takes updates of $3,000 every other year.
Wow.
To keep repairing, to be able to plug in.
Right.
And, tell you that gives me another, I'll go off on another tangent real fast on that one, because plugging in just tells me where to look. It tells me the code number, tells me the system of the code, gives me the nature of it, and I have to go and find out why.
But so you have that point, though, is that imagine this scenario where you have so many sensors and so much. I mean, cars now have a black box, and a lot of the stuff is getting uploaded. It's getting sent up to the cloud. It's getting sent whatever. So that puts you at an unfair disadvantage if the dealer can get a log and you can't.
Well, there is a complete log of that vehicle in the computer.
But imagine if they tell you can't have it. What if they say, well, George, you can't have it, but the dealer can.
Right now, I can access part of it, but not all of it.
Right.
And certain manufacturers say no. They don't want you accessing it. They want you to have to come back to the dealer and pay, of course, an extra probably $50 an hour. I think I'm $50 less than most of the dealers per hour around here for labor rate. And you're going to pay full bore on parts, and you can't have aftermarket parts. I get a kick out of these people that they come in, well, if I get an oil change, can you put a factory filter on it, because otherwise it voids my warranty? Yes. No, it does not. It does not. You don't have to go back to the dealer for your warranty.
No, of course, that's something that the salesman told them. Better get your oil change here, otherwise they're going to void your warranty.
Right, and then, of course, they'll offer you 3 or 4 free oil changes to get you in, or at least 2, some of them, to come and back. But every time you go in for an oil change, they're out to sell you something. The big thing in the dealer is upsell. They love to upsell. I've had more people come into my shop with a list of stuff. I went in for a recall and look at this list of problems I got. And I go over them, and there's maybe 2 of them that are not quite a problem yet, and they would be someday. The rest of it is all made up. It's all just to get in your pocket. It's a routine maintenance thing that some things you just don't need.
Yeah.
And I go with some of the maintenance. We do all the routine maintenance as required. Whatever you want, any independent shop that's worth its salt can do. But they have the right to do it, and I have to have the right to access everything that dealership mechanic has the right to access.
Right.
Except for one thing. And this is where it separates the men from the boys in my business. Because I worked in a dealer. I know. And I know how it works. If you think there's something wrong, and you're working in a dealer and you think there's something wrong with this, but you can't verify it, you can go to the parts department, get a known good electrical part, and plug it in to see if that fixes the problem. Where I don't have that luxury in the aftermarket. Mm-hmm. In my private shop, if I buy a part, I own it, especially electrical parts.
Right.
So we have a little better technology, we have a little better testing, and we have to go through more testing to find out what's wrong with your car. And where the dealer, those guys just plug and play, and they just keep doing it until they get the right part. And that's all fine too. You know what? It's your job. Do what you got to do. But don't tell me that I can't have access to the information I need to actually diagnose that car. This right to repair is very, very important. It's probably the number one freedom in your car world that I do not want to see taken away. This is Big Brother. This is big technology. This is big manufacturing telling us, we're just going to let you. We're going to run you out of business. We're going to throw you off. We're going to throw you to the wolves. We're going to run you out of business, and everybody that buys one of our cars has to bring it back to us.
Well, I would say this is part of that same slippery slope as paying extra for your heated seats. But then also imagine, I know this from like the computer world, is they basically, if you have a problem and they say, well, why don't you buy the extended tech package or the extended support package? So now they'll basically upsell you. They say, well, if you buy the support package, your car will talk to us and we'll be able to tell you if something's wrong. But if you don't buy the package, God bless you.
Upsell is the key word in a dealership.
Right.
That's the key word. Up. Get that consumer to pull out some do-re-mi, and that's just.
Well, remember, no, we're just gonna and just how much you want your payment to be. We're just gonna build that into your loan.
Yes, exactly.
Build that $1,000 support package just right into your loan. You won't even see it. It's $10 a month.
We'll make something out of you.
Yeah.
Well, my independent repair shop has to have the same ability as their shop, or it's not fair to you, the consumer, not just me. It's you, the consumer. I mean, I could guess and throw parts at it all day long, but if I have the technology available to me, I can diagnose it and repair it for the least amount of money and make it right. That's just how this has got to work. And this right to repair is very, very important. But I got to tell you that you think I'm talking about all high-tech stuff and over-the-air computerized stuff, and I am to a point, but there's also specifications that have to be known to a man to repair things right. Torque specs for tightening bolts and the specs for brake adjustments or whatever you're doing, any kind of adjustment, that all has to be available to us so that we can make your car right the first time and leave it go. So the right to repair is very important to you, the consumer. It's more important to you, the consumer, than it is to me, but it's very important to me also. All right. This is not, and this sounds like it's an opinion, but this is not an opinion. This is all done with numbers. And this guy, Hannah Lutz, who writes for Automotive News, says, the U.S. must bolster its lithium battery cell sourcing and manufacturing strategy to compete in the expanding lithium battery market and reach climate goals, according to Libridge Research, Libridge, Li-Bridge. The lithium battery cell market in the United States is expected to reach $55 billion per year by 2030, but the current growth pace of domestic sourcing will limit the industry to just 30% of that demand, according to a report by Libridge, a public-private alliance by the U.S. Department of Energy and managed by Argonne National Laboratory. So they have credentials. They have bona fides, trust me. Libridge said it proposed recommendations would capture 60% of the economic value from domestic demand of lithium batteries by the end of the decade. That would generate $33 billion in revenue and create 100,000 jobs. Very nice. According to the group's report, building a robust and resilient U.S. lithium battery supply chain published this month. I got to tell you, without reliable access to lithium battery technology, the U.S. simply has no chance of meeting the goals of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030 or achieving net zero emissions by 2050. I'm still going to be driving this Ford Edge, trust me, by 2050. Libridge said in a report, the U.S. endangers its position on the global stage if its climate targets are missed or overshadowed by other countries, such as China. And that's just exactly what the problem is. Lithium, and again, we're going back to my old argument that lithium does not make green cars. A lithium battery is not a green car. The only way to get lithium is to just destroy your planet digging it up. And you got to have cobalt, and you got to destroy the planet for that too. So lithium cars are not. Electric cars, period, are not green. Not yet. Not even close yet. Because they're still using coal-fired plants to charge them and the battery infrastructure and the electric infrastructure. Until we get into of course, back to the nuclear plants and back to the other things with the nuclear fusion plants, which is not the same. That nuclear fusion plant can be a lot smaller, and it has no waste. It doesn't have the spent rods that a regular nuke plant does. It's a fusion plant. The nuclear fusion is similar to the energy that is given us by the sun, but it's man-made, and it works. All right, and that would make a green car. That would make your electric battery car green. But they're still talking about digging up lithium and destroying the planet doing that, and probably getting the cobalt out of the ocean and ruining our ocean. I don't want to mess with the ocean. The ocean controls too much stuff, trust me. It's like your thyroid and your body. You don't want to mess with your thyroid. It's in charge of too many jobs.